Hey team, how we going? It is Kaz from the Trenches with Kaz, and I have just made it in the nook of time, as I would say in New Zealand, to bring something to the table. Thank you to Nicole King, who has brought to my attention today, as well as some serving members, about some of the new plans for the Army Reserve to limit their preparation, their initial training, their corporate all-core Australian Army Reserve training that is expected by everyone. We're just waiting for a few people to come up because we've just let our worldwide viewers know we're about to go online only a couple of minutes ago. We've got a few people here, and Foxy is the first one here. G'day, buddy. If you were a smoker, would it be Camel cigarettes? You know what I'm talking about. Medicine Man. G'day, mate. This is a guy I know would not be up for the jab. Likes to do it the traditional way. Herbologist. How is everyone going? Dave D, how you going? Would love to have a conversation offline with you about this one. Hey, Cass, how you going, mate? Any word from the young fella? Is there been any more news that has come out from the School of Infantry? James, good to have you here, mate, and a great name you've got. James Mowing, James Streaming. Wish I was that guy. Guys and gals, it's come to our attention today that the Army Reserve is to shorten their training due to the same issues that they're starting to have with the regular Army, retention. Retention it's nothing new. It's always been around, and it happens in all armies. Probably just not as bad at the moment because the books at the moment, we seem to be cooking them. Over 10 years ago, we brought in a thing called competent and not yet competent, rather than a scale system of excellent to very fucking lucky to get through the physicality or the training. Now, there is also corporate defence writing, service writing, that happens on course reports that is to follow a template rather than the actual words spoken of the section commander, the instructor, the guy on the ground that looked in the eyes of the person that they were assessing, so that they could treat them more than a number and let them know this is where you're good, this is where you're poor, this is what you need to work on. Great guy, gets on with others, fully recommend, and there should be a box that says, would you want this person in your call sign? And that doesn't matter if it's Army Reserve or regular Army. It doesn't matter if it's Navy, it doesn't matter if it's Air Force. It is great to know the personal side of someone. Would you vouch for this person or not? I don't mind when there is changes in training because sometimes we can actually get a bit of nepotism and make training harder for ourselves than it needs to be and try to chase the eliteness that comes with time, not necessarily with just a perfect lesson. Mentorship, humility, camaraderie, mateship. Well, I've got a few things today that I want to say that are going to be fixes for all of this that I wanted to do a video on tomorrow. But you deserve a stream. This is where the context of what we talk about gets through to those ears of those that are at the moment driving trucks, whether that was Dougie's old profession. Those in jet planes. Don't know when I'll be back again. To those at the moment that have earbuds in while they're making love. To the sound of Kaz's voice talking about the bear pit. Yes, baby. Shannon, g'day, mate. What about me, Shannon Knoll? Great rendition of that song. G'day, gentlemen. Sometimes I am. For sure, mate. I'm off to School of Infantry shortly too. Let's have a conversation before you do. I'm a bit of an expert on that. Brad, VR46. Evening, Kaz, in Puckapunyal. That place sucks all seasons. Don't get attacked by a botulism kangaroo while you're there. Foxy, even more, it's already lesson test with reserve. It's hard you have to pick it up right away. Otherwise, see ya. That's right. And the problem is, it's all about getting the C in the book once, then no continuation training. And then it can feel like it's in the too hard basket for Army Reserve units that either have a low amount of individuals there, okay, because there's something wrong with the recruiting, or they've got a low catchment area, or maybe they just don't have exciting training, depending on what the core is. So the tough thing is you might be a long time between drinks. And if it's a long time between drinks for the applicant that comes in and says, I'm going to sign on, I'm proud, I can give this much time to my nation to get the Australian flag here. Okay, and I believe there should be a patch that signifies someone as Army Reserve and not regular Army. You know, just like there should be second lieutenant and not just straight to getting 2 pips now. So that you understand that you're dealing with, okay, another animal, another organisation. Okay, but I've got some fixes here, and I think the Army Reservists are going to like them. I think everyone's going to like them. You know, but if we're going to sign up, if we're going to be volunteers, then we should also feel like we're getting our contract met. Okay, test us. Don't just have us sitting down. Don't have us always sitting there in a rank structured system where we're too scared to ask something because we're brand new, like we're a prospect in a motorcycle club, where we have affixes to the reason why I want to be there, but I'm not allowed to say anything because if I do and I'm a prospect, I'll get my ass kicked. Similar. Okay, it's just a different carve up of the same training. No, it's not. It's not, Dave. It's not. Because every time you open those blocks up, there's muscle memory that has been forgotten because none of it has ever been a muscle memory training situation like would happen with the regular Army. So if someone goes and they does 3 weeks now, and then they do 2 weeks or 3 weeks in 8 months or a year and a half later, it's impossible that they're going to remember the first lesson. So it's almost like a tradesman that only turns up a couple of days a year, but then you expect to give them a qualification later on. It doesn't work that way. Okay, what it does, it means we're cooking the books. When you have a retention problem, that is normally because you're not meeting the contract of the soldier in war or peace. Reduce the value. Cooking the books. Foxy Fox. Brad, I'll be down there next week for the 50th of our camels. Hey, here we go, USA. Jody Stevens is here right now. You know, this is a worldwide phenomenon, team, where we're trying to make the military mirror the standards and the requirements of the HR department of civilian sector, which cannot be done. No one knows that better than Army Reservists that normally have a career, that normally have a role within the civilian structure, whether it be management, and now they've popped over and become leaders. There's a difference. Kaz New Generation doesn't want this feedback too much entitlement. It is absolutely true to some extent. If you need to get paid more to be there, then you're not who we want. If you need to get paid more, go and work in the mines. Because you'll never be able to pay someone enough money to do something like East Timor, something like World War One, something like Tully, something like SAS Carter Course. You know, that is all paid for in enthusiasm, love, patriotism, and respect. Kaz, what's the base salary when you join the Army? I think it's about 59,000, Cody. But again, like we said, money shouldn't be what you're asking about. It should be because it's a calling. Otherwise, you're going to find no matter what we say, it won't be enough. But there are so many things that come with the military, Cody, that make it so beneficial. And remember, we are the highest paid army in the world. You know, and the conditions are pretty good too. Brandon, let's go, Brandon. Hey, Kaz, we'll be signing up for the reserves around September. Hopefully before they shorten the course. 35 days seems short as it is. Look, don't get me wrong. It used to be 2 weeks for Army Reserve courses. 2 weeks. Okay, what they need to have but is one scaled time, or they need to get to the stage where they say, Foxy, you don't need to be doing that. Thank you very much. Not too cow. Had a namaste cow down there, which means that money is going to India. For those that are part of the channel, for those that are abroad, every cent we make across the whole spectrum of what we do on YouTube is going to a family for a father named Chanda of 4 children. And he wants to get them married, and we're going to buy him a tuk-tuk so that he can actually do that, teach a man to fish. You know, we're going to make a real difference this channel. Joshy Fawn, sorry I'm late. That's what she said. And now I've got a daughter. Bianchi, g'day mate, how you going? You get paid in the Army Reserve. Yes, you do. You get paid a fortune, to tell you the truth, because it's tax-free, as you know. Shannon, what about me again? World War II. If it's from my opinion, if I had my way, I don't want to get paid. I just want to give back and serve my country. Just being able to have the honour to serve my country is enough for me. That's the attitude we love, Shannon, but we'd love to pay you for it. Because the fact of the matter is, you're going to have loved ones, and what better way to give back to your family than say, if you'll let me go into my calling late, if I'm going to have time away from you, then how about every cent that I take from Army Reserve goes into an account and it goes towards my child's HEX fees, goes towards my other child's first car, takes the entire family each year on a holiday with every cent that I've made from Army Reserve. So that means that Army Reserve is actually paying for that family holiday. That's a win-win. I like that. Kaz got to go. I'll watch the rerun. It's okay, Guardian. It's good to have you here, mate. Case, I pity those who join without passion. Yep, they'll know when they're on the Traverse Road. How's Mod is having a meeting with Modi, is having a meeting with Zelensky. Yep. In some ways, I feel sorry for Zelensky because it's not going to work out well for him. The patriots that are falling for his country daily, he's unable to go to the peace tables if he can't make sure that he keeps all that land on the east of Ukraine. He's got Ukraine where all the guys to the east are fighting while those guys on the west of Ukraine are potentially drinking chai tea and being with the wives of those that are from the east of Ukraine. This can't work out well. And then he's got to find a place for all of these people to have employment when this is all over, and people aren't going to go back to being a brickie, although that'll pay fantastic to a gypsy that comes from Romania into Ukraine and says, yep, I'll work by the hour if US is paying. Can you tell I've had a coffee? Carl P, always good to have you here. 3 thumbs up for Ivan Milat. Cody, cheers, thanks for the reply, Kaz. I'm really interested in joining and not really worried about the pay. Just thought I'd ask as the life experiences make it more than worth it. Yep, that's what I thought too when I joined the regular army, mate. And we spend everything that came to our account unless you watch my other video on what we should do about investment training over a 30-year period to end up with a great nest egg so we don't have to be dependent on a pension, etc. Okay, so let's get to what we're looking at. What I'm going to try and do, I'm going to pull this up here for a second so you can see. If you're wondering what the hell are you talking about, Kaz, with this shortened training, what it looks like is let us know. Even after 35 days, you will lose muscle memory if you don't train enough. Depends on the person. And to tell you the truth, Anthony, there is no training for Army Reserve. They go in there, they tick a box, they do the bare minimum required on any subject just to get a C, which means competent, without a spectrum of where they are on that competency spectrum. And then from there, that C lasts forever in their competency logbook equivalent. Cameron B, welcome to the Bearer of Coffee. Nutsu Cow, great to have you here. Corporal? No. Is that Corporal or Sergeant? Well done, member. Error. Oh, YouTube's got a problem with this. Busy as one-armed bricklayer in Bakhmut. Mate, imagine over there saying take your shoes off before you come inside. Up. Bam. Lukey. Glad to make another stream. Great to have you here. Let's see if I can pull up the actual writing on what's going on here. I'll move this over 2 seconds. We'll try to get it up on the screen for you. Wait. Okay. Army Reserve, Soldier Foundation training reduced. Okay, let's have a look at this, shall we? I'm going to move this over to here. I'm going to press this button because that's the way she likes it. Okay, I'm going to make this smaller so you can read it too, team. Up. Okay, so Army Reserve Foundation training. I'll just jump that off for a second. I won't be able to see your words there for a couple of seconds, team. Just hang on. Make massive donations of $3 if you want to help out India, the family and the changing lives, and we'll get into this. So Army Reserve Soldier Foundation training reduced to 3 weeks. Righto. Okay. The Australian Army 2nd Division is making training more accommodating. Okay, and I can understand when they're getting here. You know, I spoke to one of my compadres in Perth, and he's saying that what they want to do within military is this, that, or the other. But at the end of the day, the leadership needs to talk to those that are committing the time away from family to be there for that Army Reserve training at depots, and because they've got to explain that to their family, to their boss, to themselves. You know, as soon as you get over a certain amount of time of commitment, then you're saying that in actual fact you should be in the regular army. So there is a bit of a purgatory area that you need to be aware of. But here we go. Who are we talking to? Caption. Australian Army soldier, Private Paula Perez. It's always females these days for some reason too, guys. They've made it too obvious that there is a quota, there is cookbooks. It does nothing to change the actual capability of Army. And as a matter of fact, it reduces it. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to women because they actually have so many less standards than what men have, including sign-on time of 2 years instead of 4 years. You know, that's creating a retention problem within itself. Royal New South Wales Regiment during exercise Waratah run at Singleton, my old background. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Carter, okay, headquarters at 2nd Division, said training needed to be flexible to reduce the recruit and initial training attrition rate, which historically resulted in as many as 40% of people not completing their training. That means they come in, they want to be there, but just they cannot commit their time to that, despite the fact that the Army, or government jobs will allow you to go to that mandatorily. All right. He said the role of the 2nd Division has evolved considerably in recent years, and the Defensive Strategic Review reinforced as clarity of purpose. Okay. Army Senior Leadership recently approved change to SIRCAT, Service Category 5 Initial Foundation Training Continuum to address the attrition rate. All right. Reducing the 5 weeks to 3 weeks. So what isn't being taught? You can't have a march out. You almost can't teach drill inside that other than to get around the area, to be able to identify different ranks, to have your uniform ready. What are you learning within that? Are you doing any field? Are you actually doing any shooting? Will you be doing gas? Will you be throwing grenades? If so, the continuum of trying to get up to that, one of the misnomers we have in the Army Reserve is that they think they have compressed training. There is no such thing as compressed training. You cannot compress training for the simple fact that every single lesson has a TO, a training objective, and a statement of relevance that tells you why the lesson needs to be there in the first place. In this lesson, you will be taught blah, 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 so that as you as an Australian soldier can blah, 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 blah. Test of objectives. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to perform blah, blah, blah up to this standard so you can participate in all soldier quality training that's going to happen from here on in. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. There we go. Let's come down. Lieutenant Colonel Carter said training must provide the agility and scalability to support the workforce and enable 2nd Division preparation for domestic and homeland security operations. I've got another answer for this in a minute that I'll tell you about. We've created shorter training blocks, but flexibility in the system for people to off-ramp at certain points and take ownership of their individual training through the use of electronic competency. No, that's all bullshit. Everything to do with electronic, fail, fuck off. That is cooking the books. That is ticking boxes. That is criminal. Because what's happening there is now you have leadership saying sit behind a terminal in an office with no instructor getting paid, and that can be a qualification that becomes the very link between survival or not in a battlefield location. You can't just cook the books like that. This is not something you do for equity, equality, and suicide awareness to actually let people know we don't take this seriously, but HR says that we have to put it in, so let's make it as easy as possible. Do it in your own time so you don't bug us. That is not training. That is box ticking. Anyway. In future trade, initial employment training should be modulated. Okay, I'm right with that as long as it's good training. Exportable and completed under on-the-job conditions much as practical. Okay, they can say that, but are they going to actually point that out with the arts, Army Reserve training salaries, etc., that are available to a unit? They can say to their section commander, when are we going to throw grenades or do section attacks? Because I want to come along and learn those skills. So what you've done now, Lieutenant Colonel Carter, you're a fucking idiot. You know, I don't have to salute you anymore. I don't have to respect your commission anymore. That is a stupid statement. Because what you're saying right there, okay, let us know in comments what you reckon. You've just said then that there is a menu that you hand to your substandard soldiers where they can now turn up when they want, if they want, to only do the things, okay, that are on their time. Nothing that's actually going to make them a good soldier, just the fun shit. This is not a joke, team. The Army Reserve can be called up at any stage without permission to come and give full commitment to domestic service in Australia or potentially even abroad. Collection of amazing people contributing to our workforce. Yes, we do. Okay, one such person is Private Paula Perez. There you go, daughter of a Brazilian paratrooper who could say prepared for Kapuka her whole life. If that's the case, why didn't she join the regular army? Growing up, I hated the military, Private Perez said. Every weekend, Dad would flip our rooms upside down. Yeah, well, that's a psycho. Then I went to, maybe he was looking for drugs. Okay. Then I went to Kapuka and it made me feel like I was at home. I loved it. There you go. While making Kapuka make some question their choices, the infantry reservist went the other way and asked to go full-time. Okay, maybe she did. Instead, she was offered a position, a Reserve Accelerated Training Scheme, RATS, a program that can take a reservist from recruit school to proficient in 6 months and provide a life experience that complements their training. Okay, so they've done all the training, but then they've done no actual practical full-time service that cements that and creates that as a muscle memory or shows that person exactly what they can achieve. Okay, because at the end of the day, the sad thing about the Army Reserve experience is you often don't have enough people to outfit a full platoon, a full organisation, a full company, you know, to be able to step up to support company, to have those roles, etc., or to be able to go and actually be a capability plus in a training environment alongside regular forces where they can bill it for your arts days to come and assist them as a come along, join along unit where they're going to get the best of all worlds with pollinisation from the regular army as well. Next month, Private Perez and 21 others will be the first to finish the 4th 3rd Battalion Royal Australian Regiment. While it may be easier than ever for people juggling civilian life and service soldiers like Perez are going all in. Well, no, joining the regular army is going all in. Stop it. But when you grow up in a military family with a chin-up bar in your room, it was like a foregone conclusion. How many chin-ups can you do? I used to do 34, Miss Perez. I thought it would be a great ideal to do a RATS for 6 months to see whether I like it. No, you don't get to do that. If you have time, you do full commitment. Army Reserve is for people with a professional career. It is for people that want to go and do a full year, similar to a gap year, and then go off and do their Army Reserve, okay? But also they should get some sort of, what would you say, subsidised education or some assistance in what their civilian role is. You've got to look after the people that stand up and step forward. Once it ends, I want to reverse to ARA, Australian Regular Army. You don't go to try before you buy, get qualified Army Reserve, then come over with just a few things missing and then ask for your Skippy badge. It doesn't work that way. You've got to do Singho. You have to. Okay, what else we got? Sorry, guys, if I was coming across like a psycho then. Where are we? Bam. Okay. Matthew, welcome to the Great Unwashed. Sorry, guys, we got a little bit crazy there. Yep. So we respect everyone that comes along and they join the Army Reserve, understanding that there is reasons in their life they've either come late. Okay, they're juggling family, they're juggling an excellent career. They need some male bonding to step outside the realms of the over feminised estrogen workforce that you have in the civilian sector, or you're a police officer and you go, what better way to be the perfect cop than go over and have a blend of police training and then go and have mateship training with the regular army, okay, or Army Reserve, sorry, and then mix that training with weapons training, etc., come back and be the perfect cop. It's a great distraction too. And you can come home and look romantic to your wife or to your husband, if you're a sailor, with your boots on and say, leave your pants on. Hey, Kaz, you were an instructor on my PSYOP. You were a champion then and a champion now, spot on with the virtual BS box ticking. Hey, thanks, Mr. O'Brien. So I was your instructor for your platoon training. You know, were you there for the sergeant or for officer, mate? And I hope you're doing well and all the best to your family. I loved being an instructor, you know, slash teacher, slash platoon sergeant for you. I loved you guys. Matty, great to have you here, Matthew Smith. Great to have you there. That's a common name, I'd imagine, Matty Smith. Spicy Drive, good name, 3 weeks. Yep. I'm not saying there's a magic time. I don't expect people to be able to do 12 weeks. Okay, otherwise you basically are in the regular army. What I do believe is the answer is every single Army Reserve unit needs to be audited and they need to be able to say, this location, is it competent? Does it have a capability that can be used? Or is it a taxpayer's haven where money is just poured through the drain and actually does nothing? You know, because I believe that there is a lot of, what would we say? There is a lot of evidence to say that it is time for national service in Australia, and then those units would have local, they wouldn't have to do recruiting drives. Okay, if there's any of those out there, wink, wink, that are recruiters at the moment, because what would happen is they would get fed from the gap year / national service into the Army Reserve of those localities, just like the Limitanii that happened in Rome when they realised as the East and Western Roman Empire was splitting apart and they couldn't have the army running around all over the bloody hillsides for every threat. They said, we need an Army Reserve. So they started a Limitanii that meant they had Army Reserve in every single province, which meant you could defend that area that quick, grab your pitchfork, because gunpowder didn't exist then, righto, and you could take up weapons. Now, I believe it's time for that. Danny Boy, good name, great name. None of this knocks the Army Reserve, none of this knocks the regular army. What it knocks is the leadership that needs to not be dishonest. Don't tick boxes. Don't waste taxpayers' money. Make it worth it. Meet the contract of the soldier so when they go in there, they know they're not wasting their time and everything that you showed in the pamphlet is available to them. And I'll have more to say on that in 2 seconds. Oi, Kaz, Coxie says, g'day. G'day, Coxie. How you going, mate? How's Singo going? You know, I bet it's getting cold. You guys will meet again on the weekends. We've got a whole bunch of guys at the moment. We've got the son of Cass, okay, who's at the School of Infantry right now. Hopefully in a couple of weeks he's going to be in another platoon. Capiong platoon is getting ready to kick off at the School of Infantry. Coral has now been going for 1 week. Coxie is on base still, which means clearly, you know, they haven't been given the weekend at this stage, or he's going to head off tomorrow with Diggers Shuttles. Bloody rip-off. Certified Evil, g'day, mate. Thanks for everything, Kaz. Your glasses make you 10% smarter. They do. Blue steel. For those that haven't seen the thumbnail yet, you know, I put on there that pizza's coming in the, pizza will be coming in the ration pack. Maybe it will. Maybe that's what they need to do. Hey, Jackie Cave, how you going, mate? Guys, 18 years old now. Well done. How you going this evening, Certified Evil? I'm fine. I almost didn't make it tonight. Vickers, namaste, sir. Namaste. I've got the best rug downstairs, mate. I went and asked for the best rug from the best rug shop and said, give me your best rug, paid for the best rug, now it's downstairs. I love it. It's changed my life. Brendan Roach, I have my PFA for reserve infantry on Wednesday. Pretty excited. Go in there and be the Roach. Scuttle along. You know, when you go and do your fitness test, try to come first at every single thing, team. Jay Goz, at the pub now with Coxie, Love and Life. Mate, drink like a modern man and have a ginger beer instead of just beer, spirits, etc. Put some ice in it. Mate, that'll water off some of that ginger burn, and put some lemon or lime in there. Absolutely magnificent. And it makes people wonder, what is that person drinking? The publican doesn't believe he's 18 though. That's good, mate. From Rishikesh. It wasn't from Rishikesh, Vickers. It was over at Agra, near the Taj Mahal to be exact. Dave, ARES is full of people who are genuinely committed to being the best they can be. A significant percent are ex-ARA, so carry full quals. This is true. But at the end of the day, there must be full unit representation. Otherwise, you cannot do collective training. It needs to be there. There has to be the leadership that actually forecasts these events. And what there has to be is a little bit of pluck in the soldiers that they say, I'm going to turn up for the hard things, okay, from the things that suck as well as the things that are great. You know, and what I reckon, Dave, would be a great thing, a really great thing, would be if, well, let's use Brisbane, for example, because they've got a heavy Army Reserve foundation there. So is Sydney, but doesn't have a regular infantry unit down there. We use infantry for the moment. Anthony, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. Press like if you can. I dare you. Double dare you. But what I'd recommend for commanders, if they're in an Army Reserve now, or leadership, if you're listening right now, okay, the soldier has a different head to you. He thinks for a different thing. He's there for a different reason. He's not there for politics or for progression. They're there for an escape. They're there to have the Australian flag. They're there to serve. They're there to be challenged so they can have the stories and live the adventure and follow the path of those that went to Kokoda. That sort of shit. So what you should do is talk to the people you meet, you know, from the regular units, 6 RAR, for example, or 8-9. You know, same deal with your cav units, with your artillery units, engineers, transport, etc. And what you should ask is, can you find a spot where we get a section, 2 sections, a platoon, and make a sister effing platoon? What I mean by that is, if I was in, sorry, I'm not sure the name of the Hunter River Lancers, the Queensland Rifles, whatever. Okay? But what you should do is ask, can you start a custom and tradition which starts with potentially sports, or you are billeted by an infantry platoon, whether it is from Delta Company 6 RAR, the Long Tan Battle Honour, and you say to them, every time you do training, if you want, we would like to join you on that. Okay, if that means that sections turn up without a platoon commander, doesn't matter, you won't miss shit. Okay, have the soldiers turn up and get to know private soldiers. By doing that, they're going to be inspired. Now they have a franchise they can follow, like their favourite football group. Okay, and then from there, with no other help from leadership, the bar will rise. They will come up with all tides, and they will have a better call sign, higher retention, higher turnout, enthusiasm, professionalism. It'll be awesome. You know, the regular army is not at war with the Army Reserve. Let's get that myth out the way. Everyone would rather have an extra section in their platoon that gets around. It'd be a fantastic thing. And some of the doors that you would open by the mesh of regular army, Army Reserve, except if it ever pulls the army, regular army back, because they can't afford to be held back while they prepare for the worst days abroad. Happy Wombat. I love your blue symbol there, mate. Shannon. My biggest boundary at this point in time is my lack of schooling, but my fitness is on point and I'm handy with a rifle too, but sadly I don't think that's going to be enough. Shannon, This is why I believe there should be national service, to pick up the gaps in people where they've been betrayed by either society, by their own family, or by circumstance. Pick them up, rebuild them. They're not going to be going from there to SASR, but make them the best version of themselves. Then let them go back out and be a citizen within Australia, so that patriotism comes back, so the uniform becomes something that everyone wants to wear once, so that people ask, what unit did you come from, despite the fact you're at a coffee shop. Fantastic. Jack Cave, thank you very much, mate. Nutsu Cow with the Smurf donation going all the way to India. And Rishikesh was one of my favourite areas too, beside the Ganges, which up north isn't actually dirty at all. Bloody cold, but. Anthony O'Brien, some fantastic ideas. It's just because I care, mate. I do care. Alistair's Gaming, just heard about the changes and now listening to you. Yep, there's going to be micro details in it, mate. I'd say don't sweat it too much. The problems that we're talking about here are systemic problems with the Army Reserve, cooking the books and their leadership, etc. They're not held to account. They are not audited. They're not made and forced to represent what their actual capability is, so people can say, these guys need more. Let's give more to them. Let's give them more funding. Let's give them more exposure. I don't want to just say we're going to have 5 Aviation with its Black Hawks or NH90s down there. Who wants to come for a fly in a chopper where there's no capability? It's just a Kentucky tour fun event. If you're not going to get attendance, when it's also time to do a basic fitness assessment. Basic fitness assessment. This is what it's about, team. That's what it's about. Okay? If you end up falling for this country and there is a poppy in the grass for your son, for your daughter, for your loved one, then by geez, you'd better hope that when you're signing that certificate as leadership, you can say they had the best possible training, but they were a casualty of war, and you don't have equivalent to, bam, a death coin getting sent out by the king for your family that you can find also, sadly, on eBay. Anyway, happy Wombat. It's getting there, Kaz. Things like you described are in progress. Fantastic. Fantastic. And you know what? It's good for regular army too, because when they know that there's people outside their unit are going to be watching what they're doing, all of a sudden, chest gets a bit further out. Okay? It's like when the kids do that, what's that testing? To see what the teachers really knew. I'm off on a tangent there. Eat Your Water. I'm sorry, team. I've got to say, Eat Your Water is my favourite name of anyone on YouTube. I love it. It makes me laugh internally. Spicy Drive, hell yeah. Eat Your Water. The standard is 75 sit-ups held, but it's expected to do 100 sit-ups as a group. I'm not sure what that's for. 64 is the most you ever have to do regardless of age or gender within the forces. 64. I don't know who came up with that magic hip flex number, but if 64 is it, then why do we do 100? I don't know. Shannon. I too agree. I have the same opinion. My great-great-grandfather was a private with the 2nd 24th in the siege of Tobruk, and also El Alamein, so he joined in very much that kind of way. There we go. Represent. Dave D, no one does less than 100 sit-ups. That's right. It's one of those Clayton sort of things. And everyone has another 100 in the tank. That's the sit-up standard for Army. You should easily be able to do 100 sit-ups. I'll aim for 200. Spicy, they'll stop you at 100. I honestly say to people, it is a hip flex, Eat Your Water. It is. What I'd say to people is only go to 64 if you have problems with your run. This is a test. It's not a PT session. It's a metric. That's all it is. Now, if your run is subpar and you do 100, you'll be amazed at what that extra 36 push-ups, sit-ups, hip flexes do to your thighs if you're using your legs to get up, so she says. 20 an hour, 5 hours is 100. Yeah, ADF recruitment is a joke. It is. They need to kick out everyone that is HR, every single person. It needs to be all Army, Air Force, Navy, injured soldiers. Permanent injured soldiers. Rather than kick them out, am I a fucking genius or what? Rather than kick them out, send them to recruiting so they've still got a uniform, still got the badge, they're still proud, they don't feel disgruntled, they don't feel like they've been flicked off the mantelpiece. They're in there doing the best they can do. You know who does that really well? SASR. They look after their own. Commandos look after their own. Yep. Kickboxer. He was kicking a wall and it was coming down all around him. Don't fight him, you're fucking crazy. Sorry about the language here, team. The other one. Let's talk about this one. I was going to make a video about this, guys and gals. This is for the regular army as well as the Army Reserve. Now, if you're a commander and you look at your soldier and you think, what are you here for as a commander? There's probably a list of things that you want ticked off on your box. I get it. I get it. But the one thing that every soldier has in common, male or female, is they normally watch sports. And when you watch sports, you watch a team. And when you watch a team, you go for the team and you're loyal to the team. What this soldier wants, what he deserves, is a t-shirt. Something that actually says, this is your call sign, this is your tribe. Now, we're taking that off soldiers across the Australian Army, and I don't know why, out of this goddamn stinking wokeness. You know, as soon as someone shows a sign of being a lefty in the Army, kick them out. They're not for a team. You know, they eat each other. They're only happy in conflict. You know, morale vampires. So what should happen is, every platoon, if you're in Delta Company, 6 RAR, okay, 10 platoon, 11 platoon, 12 platoon, each one of them should have a platoon t-shirt, but there should also be a company t-shirt, and there should be a battalion t-shirt, and they're all there. And whatever training you're doing, whatever representation you're doing, you're being loyal to that franchise, and then you make that the best. And this is something that's going to sound weird to you. This one's going to sound weird to you. If you come from the 2nd Battalion, I never want to see you posted to 1 RAR or 3 RAR. I never want to see you posted to 6 or 8, 9 unless there's a family needs requirement. You go to the 2nd Battalion, second to none, go to 1 RAR, go to Old Faithful with 3 RAR, then I want you to go from there to Kapuka, from Old Faithful 3 RAR to School of Infantry, from there to wherever you go. So that in your blood, you are running Old Faithful. Every time 3 RAR walks past 2 RAR, it should nearly be a punch on. There should be gritted teeth. There should be fuck yous happening between section commands, between platoon sergeants. Even if some of it is like a haka, a bit of an act that's going back to show your tribal heritage. But you should have the t-shirts that you earn, so you are part of something, so you bleed something for the rest of your life. You wear that, you remember that, and everyone knows who you represent. And that costs nothing. Nothing, leaders. Are you listening? I don't fucking think so. I don't think so. Too busy worried about gay pride marches instead of having esprit de corps, adherence to customs and traditions. Now, think about from the soldier's perspective, why are you getting out? Me boss is a dickhead. One boss or every boss? Is it you or is it them? Let us do a little bit of a breakdown. Let's do a forensic check on this soldier. He's always been a good kid. Let's bring back, give a voice to round tables, like a podcasting thing that happens with the army. Sorry, what happens around the world. You know, something like Fresh and Fit, whatever clips, whatever you want to do. Something like Sean Ryan. These sort of things, and allow people to communicate in a way that the headshed comes down and doesn't just listen to gripes, but listens to solutions. I'll always give you solutions, team. Because the left got offended because anything that symbolises death. Yeah, you don't, and the thing is, you don't see these t-shirts. No one sees them except the recipients that wear them. If you're offended by a skull on a t-shirt, you know, that tells me that you're never actually going to be facing the bayonet that's in front of it. I don't care if you're offended, if I'm the one that's doing the bleeding. You know, I'd love to see our SES guys when they're fighting fires with logos on their back, telling you that they're the burnt roadkill of Boggo Road, or whatever it is. Allow us to have our way. You know, we used to have fight nights between units, Dave. Internal affairs, they've got enough of those, don't they? Sounds like the guns are facing inwards these days. Guys and gals, I respect you when you serve. You start with 100 points. Only you can lose them. Okay? You know, when there's a retention problem, it's always nearly due to leadership. You know, if people say, oh, but it's the new people these days, bullshit. Bullshit. Because the whole point of Kapuka is to break the back of the current way that people think in today's society and bring you back to customs and traditions and motivation of the team, of patriotism, of mateship. You know, so that one thing you have instilled in you is that you need your brother and he needs you, that you do need a man, that you do need other people with you, that you can't do things alone. And the very first thing we learn about that is making a bed together at Kapuka. But instead what we're doing now, we're pulling the fibres in every direction of why people join, why people stay. You know, you shouldn't have to pay extra money for someone to stay. Just deliver. At the 20 years, there should be a bonus, not at 4 years. Definitely not at 2 if you've only got to serve 2 instead of 4. Wiz, you're the leader of your own life, mate. No one makes you who you are except you. That's it, man. Does SAS still see action during peacetime? Spicy drive? Who knows? What they do in the darkness is what makes them what they are. Dave, all my unit are the best, Carl. Not sure about your question. Well, we've just found out too that they've got rid of or getting rid of the Cav Scout that doesn't exist in the regular army, but now it won't exist in the Army Reserve. So they're going to be with their Hawkeye vehicles and all that sort of shit. So that's awesome. You're showing modulation, but there has to be capability as well. Yeah. Give exposure from our Army Reserve to our regular army and let them lead the way, regular army, and you watch the moulding, the passive pollinization of training where the Army Reserves will just get better and better and better because the one thing that people love is competition. Yep, and we mimic success. Lars, good name. I was in 9RQR back in the 90s. Reason I left was that funding just kept sliding, being asked, pressured to do weekends for free. Got old after a while. You should never be asked to work for free. You know? I'm sorry about that, Lars. Josh, can't wait for Zelensky to be saved. That's not going to happen. If it was going to happen, it would have happened before now. Luke, yes. Kaz, do you know about the full-time Kapuka program? I hear they are still, some intakes doing 9-week programs, but they stay around after March out to do the training that was taken out. Well, that wouldn't make sense, would it? You know, because if you leave Kapuka and you have what we call a shortfall, training shortfall, that just means something hasn't been ticked off and it gets picked up later in training. That can happen, sure, but it's not a good habit because then what occurs is then they sweep everything away that's too hard, you know, and then the gaining unit has a hard time. A great example of that is Kapuka has really dropped the ball with fitness standards, swimming, all that sort of shit. But then we dump people straight into the School of Infantry, into Gallipoli platoon, and then those guys are expected to be, you know, 50% better than what they were in Kapuka only 4 days later. And that's not a rap. Could listen to you all day, Kaz. Great stuff. Mate, it's the sound of ADHD. You know, I hope you like it, mate. Sorry, my face looked better when I was younger. No, that might be fake news too. Yeah. Happy Wombat. Why are they getting rid of Cav Scouts? Because the actual function of the Cav Scout at this stage won't be required because the platform that they'll actually be in won't be protected mobility Bushmasters. It will, or APCs, it will be fast mobility weapon platforms from inside Hawkeye vehicles, mate. The training gets dropped in and taken out of Kapuka all the time. But the sad thing is, some things that we learn in the Australian Army is secret sauce that you can't afford not to know. Now, when you become a soldier and you want to be a good soldier, the difference between a good soldier, a Russian soldier, and a mercenary, is there's a reason why you're doing it other than money. There has to be the reason why you are actually joining, which is a calling, which means you're not looking at the credit card details. You're looking at what does it give you in your life on the path less trodden. I'm currently doing runs with a webbing and filled with bags of sand. Should I also practice with a pack? Josh, don't touch any of that. Don't do any of that until you get in, mate. We do graduation training as you get there to the School of Infantry, etc. It will prepare you. Don't do anything that can risk giving you lower limb injuries and prevent you from having your calling. That guy. This is a bit off topic, but China is using flamethrowers. Yeah, Australia used to use them too. Yep. That digger's on fire. That digger's on fire. Eat your water. Only know of getting rid of the bayonet obstacle course. Why would you get rid of the bayonet assault course and get rid of the obstacle course? Again, upper body strength, fibula, fighting in built-up areas, teamwork, junior leadership, all of those things are tested. Hardship, resilience, controlled aggression. Yet we're going to end up an LGBT workplace if we're not careful. Why don't we get rid of equality and equity lessons? Get rid of that shit and put the real shit back in. We're feeling a little bit like Bud Light at the moment, aren't we? And the leaders should be sacked if they implement it. Joe Grace, that's a nice name. Cav Scout is mounted infantry specialist role. Pre-enlistment, just building a running base, build muscular endurance. That's it, man. You just need that platform. You just need a platform. No injuries. You're going to get all the time to have specific training that you actually learn, what you actually need in your job. Do a self-audit on yourself. Go, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Let's work on my weaknesses and get going from there. Yeah, bayonets might go to make way for suppressors. Sadly, Australia was one of the most famous countries for bayonet fighting, like New Zealand was. And, the way of the dodo. The bayonet, I had a beautiful video on my previous channel that got hacked, taken away from me. And that was the bayonet. Is it useful? Is it redundant? And it was a fantastic video, one of the best videos I've ever made. And it's all about the psychology of the bayonet. To the platoon commander, when you go to a FUP, which is a forming up point, which has been secured by another call sign to allow people to get into extended line before they do an assault, go over the top, you would have heard, to step over the line of departure, the field signal that the platoon commander used to do, while everyone is taking a knee, facing forward, they know their axis, they know where the enemy is, they know their role, they know there's no turning back. After you cross over the line of departure, he used to pull out his bayonet. Shh, thank you, demo. And he'd have it there, and then he'd click it on the end of his rifle. And he's letting you know to do that, so then everyone would fix bayonets. And what the bayonet tells the guy who's on his knee is we are about to take the ground that the enemy calls his fucking home postcode. We're going to take it. There's no turning back. And if we run out of bullets, guess what? We're going to go and brush his teeth with steel. And that's what we did. We did it in World War I. We did it in World War II. We did it in Vietnam. We did it in Korea. Okay, we used it in low-level operations, in places like Timor. Okay? The bayonet tells the soldier the psychology of the warrior spirit that you will win, you must win, or you're coming back on your shield. Or we'll find your carcass when the campaign's over, like they did of the sections at Gallipoli that made it to the furthest point. The bayonet is a beautiful thing. It takes the man and it gives him pluck. It allows him to go forward and have confidence through controlled aggression. Sometimes you see a boxer go in, or someone in the MMA, and they run out of gas in the first round. Some of that's out of fear. Some of that's because they thought they had the measure of the other guy. Well, guess what? You go in, calculated, keep your balance, use the bayonet, use your controlled aggression. You can use that as a tool. That is part of our rules of engagement. When you fix a bayonet, nothing lets the yellow-veined Antifa protester know, don't go past that point, like a bayonet. Okay? Sorry, let's not use that one. I'm sorry, Carl. Come on, Miss Jane. 2 seconds, team. Oh, look out. Look out. Good Australian steel here. What do we got? What do we got? There we go. I tell you what, the Hun, the Jap, the Italian, okay, they were all really allergic to this. They really didn't like the 303 or what it does to you. It worked. You know, it worked. And if it works, you don't get rid of it. Boom. 303 bayonet. Thank you, Carl. If I draw it, I've got to cut myself. Otherwise, it's not legit. Thanks, mate. Kelly's, come here, buddy. Come on. Achilles. Let's swap hats and get in the mode. Come here, buddy. We all need mates. And there's no better mate than your dog. What do we got here? Jody. This one's for you, Jody. I hope you like the puppies. I love you, mate. 100% agree, Kaz. Thank you, mate. Carl, you're going to combat roll sub-10s for the run. 60 push-ups and 100 sit-ups. Or you could be like Kaz and do 100 push-ups, 34 chin-ups and the run in 8 minutes 40. Okay, he didn't write that. I said that. No one's ever said that to me before, Joshy, that you love my intelligence. Okay, you need to get a haircut, buddy. I just washed this guy's ass today, but that's what sergeants do. They look after the digger, don't we, mate? Tomorrow, you and me, we're going to have a big day. We're going to walk until your lower legs are in pain. Anyone got any message for the dog? There we go. Joshy loves, Jody loves puppies. Hey, Kaz and team. G'day, El. Hey, John. Good boy. Nicole. G'day, mate. Nicole, you've sponsored today's session. Thank you very much, my mate. Okay, buddy. Go on my bed. I'll see you soon. Love you. Life is simple, team. Sausage roll with sauce, dog, bayonet, in the trenches with Kaz. Good to go. Nicole, hope you're feeling better too. Team, this is a bush hat. What's the flap on the back for? That's emergency toilet paper right there, team. Or it'll also get rid of some of your DNA. Who's a good boy? Not this guy. Close air support. Kaz, yep. What's your dog's PFA score? Mate, he's good to go. He's such a good dog that he backs up with his ass off the ground to do a shit on bushes, so I never have to take a green bag to pick it up. You sent me, Nicole, the thing about Army Reserve today, about the training going from 5 weeks down to 3 weeks, whatever it was. So it's a misnomer. It doesn't really worry me that it's doing that. What worries me is the continuation training is not there. So we need to be able to do an audit on every unit and say, is there a capability add or not? And where we can, what we need to do is make sure that we get exposure between the regular Army and the Army Reserve, as long as it doesn't detract, and then bring back T-shirts and memorabilia and start new customs and traditions that allow people to move forward. We did it in 1949 with the prefix Royal on the Skippy badge, on the Royal Australian Regiment. So there's no reason why it can't be done now. Guys and gals, it's been a pleasure tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. How's that like button going? I don't like the like button, to tell you the truth. It's like it's telling you what to do. Glasses and bush hats don't go together either, do they, team? Give me a question. What do we got? What do we got, team? What's your questions? National service, what do we reckon? It's time. Let's pick up our fallen. Let's look after people before they're in uniform. Let's look after our guys that are in year 10, okay, that don't assimilate the information required to go to university or finish year 11 and 12. Let's pick them up straight away. Let's look after them. Let's give them the tools, the mateship, the belief that they can do more, and then feed them into Army Reserve or the regular Army, whichever one catches them. Okay, recruiting should never be a problem. We had over 400,000 men, okay, go and deploy in World War I from a population of 5 million. We shouldn't be having a hard time with this, and we shouldn't be giving, current equipment, if we still need it, to foreign countries in conflict while we've got substandard shit back home. Kaz, we need to have a chat soon, mate. It sounds good, mate. YouTube will perish. It's a fact. It will, mate. It keeps choking itself. We should bring it back in. I can guarantee more will stay than leave. As soon as people come in, they get a taste of the reality of service, especially when it's not being subdued by the woke political leadership. Then, mate, we're in a good place. Rain, is it worth it to start off in reserves and transfer into full time? No, that's not the way you do it, Rain. Okay, the reason people join the regular the Army Reserve, and we've got a lot of people, okay, in our channel. Some of them have got comments above you now. I won't name their names, and they're in Army Reserve because they don't have the time to be able to join the regular army, and that's all they want to do, because either they left it late, they've got a profession, they've got a family, they've got a medical condition, something has stopped them from giving that. What I'd say to you is you have a few choices in life when you're getting out of school. One is a trade. Okay, the other one is further training, doing university. Another one is doing casual work for too long. Or the other one is going to military, police, government jobs, etc. Now, all of those, as long as what you're going into, you are 100% committed to what it is, you can have a great life. Absolutely a great life if you know what you're going to be doing in university. You pay the HEX bill and therefore make it work for you. But make sure it's something that can give you a job. If you go to a trade, it should be because you've got passion, not because you can't think of something else. And if you're going to the forces, then it should be because all you want to do is be a cop. Put bad guys away. Do this, do that, drink coffee on the taxpayer's dime, whatever it is. Okay, join the army, be in helicopters and decide on a spectrum of, do I want to be in a clerical position where I get qualifications there? Do I want to go to engineers, okay, and get qualifications in plant-based machinery? Do I want to go into transport and be in fleet management? Do I want to go into aviation and be in POL? Petrol, oils and lubricant, okay, contaminated waste. Or do I want to get in infantry and seek out and close the enemy to kill or catch him, seize and hold ground, repel attack by day and night, regardless of season, weather, terrain, and never truly mature, because you live in a land, a brotherhood, a tribe, a franchise that you'll never get sick of, ever. Hey, coffee tomorrow on me, brother. Geez, that's an expensive coffee there, mate. No, this is going to India. Get some chai tea. Nutsu cow. Thank you very much, K-Dog. Bert. I don't know what that one is. Yeah, gongs aren't what we aim for. They're just a recognition of service, mate. Do an arts degree and become a socialist. Yeah, Matty. It's an expensive uniform to wear, isn't it? Yep. How are we going? We running out of time? Going to transport and grade pizza for quality. That's not a bad one, Dave. That's a channel right there. That's how Barstools started his YouTube. Have we had enough, or do you want a little bit more? There's one some more. Oliver Twist. You let me know. I'll go for as long as you want tonight. We can see the viewers are dropping off. Is there something going on? Matthew did an arts degree before enlisting, and I was an accountant. I could understand an arts degree in history. That'd be freaking amazing. But you're not going to do that and then never get paid a cent for your qualification after you finally pay off your, what do you call it? Pay off your HEX bill. It's sad to remember sitting at the RSL after 8 years of loyal service with one gong to show for it. Yeah, it's a fickle thing, mate. But all I'd say is don't ever let your medals actually don't let them define you. You know, I've got 8, but then I meet some of my mates who are in 2 Commando, and they might have 8, but they've got ones there for specific action-orientated decorations. So the number is not important. You know who you are. Your mateship. You know, your mateship is the most important thing. We've got mates who have only got 1 medal, and we laugh all the time with them. One guy in particular, Donald Trump, I don't know if he's listening right now. He's a legend. You know, he only had 1 medal, okay, while he was waiting for his other one to come along. And he'd been in operations in Africa. So we took him a gong about that big, and we presented that to him on Anzac Day morning at a reunion. It was bloody excellent. We could shut me down. Moree? Oh, Moore. Okay, I thought you meant Moree, the outback town in New South Wales that didn't improve. Nicole K, I only have 1 gong for my service as I never deployed. It can be a tough one. Christopher, what's your history with the Australian Army? I'm new to the channel. Chris, mate, wait 2 seconds. So I was in for 24 years, mate, which is great for me for the simple fact that I'm a big advocate of ancient history and love the Romans, and 24 years was the most you were ever expected to serve as even as a foreigner that came over as an auxiliary force, but 16 to 20 years for a legionary. So I did 24 years. I didn't count the Army Reserve a couple of years I did in Signals Corps, but then I went to Kapuka, went over, joined, transferred to infantry, you know, and got told you're going to get bashed. When I did that at Kapuka, turned up to Signal School of Infantry at 58 kilos. Me fitness made up for me big mouth, you know, and then from there I went to the 2nd 4th Battalion before it delinked and became the 2nd Battalion and the 4th Battalion, which became the 2nd Commando Regiment, you know, and then I did my time there, went to Rwanda, did multiple exchanges with the USMC, you know, with the 2nd 1st Battalion of the Royal New Zealand Infantry Regiment. Okay, then went to East Timor in 99, again in 2002, I think it was. Then Middle East over at the Sinai Peninsula in 2008. And the reason why I never went to Afghanistan, Iraq, etc. was because I've got a bleeding asshole from a tropical disease that I got in East Timor, which I've still got now, for that matter. So, yeah. When I wasn't in the battalion, I was an instructor at either the School of Infantry, okay, or Sub 1 for all corps. So I've worked with females as well as going on operations with them. Loved my career, cried when I left, you know, and sometimes I get a tear in my eye now. So this is what I do to try and help all of those that want a career, a life, but can't find the information, you know, online other than YouTube. Kaz D, for those that don't know, I do have a Patreon that allows you to, it's in the link below, and it allows you to come and do one-on-one communication with me so that I can talk to you, okay, and mentor you on all of the things that you can't be told, okay, or can't find from recruiting, remembering that DFR, Department of Defence Recruiting, okay, they're there for Army's needs, to fill the position that Army needs. I'm there to fulfill your needs. I'm the one that tells you what you can't hear, what you can't find out, what they're not allowed to tell you. So I don't understand how we can have 35 positions left on my Patreon. I only want 200 as a maximum. You know, I can't deal with a herd bigger than that. There is 10 to 20% of people fail Kapuka, and not one of them comes from this channel. That's the bit that hurts my heart, okay, is all of those people. I guarantee one thing. If the 52 people that are on here right now, watching right now, I can see by the figures, if you were part of this channel and you went to Kapuka, I guarantee none of you would fail. Some of the advice we give when you get to Kapuka is to pledge to your battle buddy that you are there for him, okay? I am here for you, buddy. You don't know me yet. We don't have to like each other. But every single day, until we get back squatted or until we march out of here, you and I will wake up beside each other. Therefore, your bed comes first. You know? But then you help me with my bed. Anyone gives you shit here, then they're fucking with me as well. And that's what you should be doing, pledging to them. Then you call your section in on the very first day and go, you don't know who I am. I don't know who you are. But one thing I do know is it can get very difficult at Kapuka if you try to be an individual. So what I recommend is that we all make a pledge to each other that we will be the best section. You know, when we're in front of everyone else, that we'll all be religious on Sunday, because that means you get to go to the Padre hour, take your phone, have some biscuits, have a cup of coffee while everyone else is back and doing something else. Okay, what you should also do is tell everyone, pledge. Everyone look at each other and say, no one will quit from this section. Let's be the section no one quits, because if you quit, you may well end up quitting for the rest of your life, and we don't want that to happen to you guys. You're better than that. You've come too far. Anyway. I really need this done. Make that 3-4. Cameron Baird, I believe you've been there, mate. RIP, yes, I agree. I'm from Narrabri. Lived in Bottom Mission in Moree. Matty Smith, it's a rough town. It is a rough town. Guys, I'd love to pay for a podcast area, a place where you could bring people in, but the sad thing is we're not allowed to have Australians that are serving in Navy, Air Force or Army. You know, probably not even police come and actually speak, frankly, candidly, you know, online, which would fix up a lot of problems. But the same thing is, it would also make a lot of disinformation and misnomers as well, I guess. That Dave D, it's bloody satisfying to beat the other sections too. Exactly. You know, use the inner warrior within people, okay, to be able to ignite a fire in the team, the franchise, that costs no extra money. Nothing. It's all bragging rights. It's what you do. Kaz just loaded up Battlefield 2042. Mate, I'm level 100 and I've unlocked everything in the gold pass. What can I say? Spicy Drive. Kaz is the sergeant of the best platoon in the company, correct? The best company in the battalion, the best battalion in the brigade, and the best brigade in the army, and the best army in the world, which makes me the best sergeant there's ever been. I should have got paid more, but I wasn't there for the money. I would have spent it all anyway. Grew up cotton chipping and pig chasing. Now, we're not talking about, what do we call it? We're not talking about Tinder with the pig chasing, are we? Spicy Drive, which means Kaz is the best sergeant. Absolutely, Spicy Drive, the best. Feral pigs and bush pigs. I haven't been dating for over 7 years, guys. That's a confession for you. I haven't dated for over 7 years because I'm here to stand by my daughter and look after her. You know, so she's got a dad. Does she appreciate it? I don't know. I don't know if she does. But I don't expect her to. She can take me for granted until she needs me. That's the way it should be. Jody. And there you are. Yeah, here we are. What was I going to get at? Not dating for 7 years. Yeah, but I think about it now. Because I keep seeing these podcasts where they ask the guys and the girls, what do you bring to the table? I'd be a bloody gem. You know, because I'm good looking in a blackout. If you can work that out. Imagine saying to someone, yep, haven't been around a girl for 7 years. My daughter's my soulmate. But I tell you what, on the weekends, I'm all yours. I've got a camper van worth over $100,000. And I love waking up beside the beach. I love coffee. I love great food. I love photography. You know, and I like sex once a year too. They should all be happy with that. Jody Stevens, you are appreciated, Kaz. You're a wonderful dad. And I'm glad, Jody, I like to think I am. I do like to think I am. I do like to think I am. And hopefully one day, she says it unsolicited. Disturbia. What tier of Patreon is required to get one of those fitness cards? Any one, Disturbia? You come on there, mate. Send us a text. When you come on there, I will send you a text straight away, a message to say welcome. And then from there, you text the bat phone, which is this one. And then what happens is I send you a message of when can you talk? And then we have a dark chat where we laugh about shit and find out a little bit about yourself, what makes you tick, what you want and what's standing in the way. And then you become the sniper, I become the number 2, and we get you to your goals. The fitness card, I've got them downstairs as well. Just send off another batch, is there so that you actually physically have something so that you can start competing against yourself. So that when you get to the assessment session and they're talking about fitness, you can swing that across the table, bounce it off the forehead of the guy across from you and go, that's my current stats, which surpass the Australian Army BFA. There. I'm passing my stats there already. So the only thing holding me back is you signing me off saying, here's my contract. Bam. If I was on the other side, I'd go, mate, you've come prepared. You must have come from in the trenches with Kaz because he's the only one that does this sort of shit for you. Yep. For the price of a coffee a month. Yep. And then, once we're finished with India, with Chanda, helping his life, then what I'm going to do is then I'm going to start investing money into my daughter's HEX bill so that she becomes a teacher one day because that's the moment she says what she wants to be. She's a school captain. I'll take a word for it. She knows how run the nuclear weapons. I'm not sure about that. If you join the Patreon, you need to admit your temperature threshold for spooning with another man. I couldn't believe how high yours was, Dave. It was fantastic. Guys, honestly, it is a pleasure, and most of the pleasure is mine on Patreon. We've got a lot of really good news lately, a lot of really good news. And you know what? A lot of the times the conversations, we bring back people from the edge. There's people that have just found out bad news. Sometimes they've been back squatted. Sometimes they've been injured. Sometimes they've had a breakup. All of these different things. And they don't want to talk to those that are closest to them. So they give me a call and we go from there. It's a beautiful thing. Matty Smith, looking for love in all the wrong places. I found some of that before, mate, I tell you. Found some of that. Guys, we've got lovely Jody there from the USA saying daughters need a strong papa in their life or they will go find one to fill that love. It's true, mate. It's absolutely true. I bought my daughter a dog you saw before. See you in a minute, Achilles. He's no Greek hero, to be honest. And that's so that she can engage with something that she doesn't need to talk with, just so that we can watch her actually grow in love and nurture something and learn about responsibility. Giving a pet to a child is a great thing, especially when you make them look after that animal. It's great. We found love in a hopeless place. Yep. Right, guys, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. It's been a great night, I wouldn't want to be in that cold water at the moment. That's some Brits there. The reason why people say, how come you're not using more Australian photos? And that's because one of the things that's getting better, but is really missing from the Australian Army, is the lack of social media posting we're allowed to do as part of our dictatorship we live by. Like the back of a Volkswagen. There you go, Matty Smith. I've got a Volkswagen van. Beautiful bed in the back. Sleeps 2 or 1 modern age woman. Spontaneous. If you do something and you're by yourself, is it spontaneous? Don't know. All right, team, let's get out of here. In conclusion, the Army Reserve are dropping their standards yet again. That is going to create shortfalls in training, and hopefully someone from leadership actually listens to this and goes, Kaz might be a dickhead, but he's got some good points, and I'm going to keep those. I'm going to instill those, and I won't have those problems at my unit. How about we like the song Living Years, we learn how to listen, not just hear. We hear a lot, but we don't actually listen. Start listening and you'll make a difference. I guarantee it, and it won't cost you or the taxpayer extra money. Like before you go, if you decide to put $5 in for India, do so. And guys and gals, I love having you here. I almost didn't get on tonight. I was running out of time, but I'm so glad I did. And you guys gave me your time when you could be anywhere else. You could be climbing the summit. Good show. Learns about social credit score right there. Guys and gals, see you later. Joey Grace, catch us later. And guys, you only get this weekend once in your life. Spend some of that time telling someone you love them. Okay, have some great coffee with your lactose intolerant freaking anal gland. And get out and sniff some salt air by the beach. Live your life. Take it easy. See you later. Mucho respecto. And Jody, last comment of the night. Thank you, Kaz. You've sent our lifelines. Remember, you are appreciated. Your coaching is needed. And to James Meredith Hupp, you were asleep in a better place with my mother-in-law, Mary Barton. So to all those out there, see you later. Catch you later. And I hope your balls are itchy. See ya.